Okay, so this video is about Airline Flight Academy and the announcement of Ryanair offering type ratings through the Airline Flight Academy, also short AFA. So for this video, the focus of it is what is the deal and what do we think you should be thinking of, and how do you actually prepare yourself for the deal. We're not going to talk about Ryanair as an employer or go into sort of the talks about whether you should be paying for your rating or if that is fair. We're just going to simply focus on what the deal is. So What is the deal? So as we understand it, this Airline Flight Academy is offering you the opportunity to get a type rating. The price for the type rating is 30,000 euros, and before that you have to pay 2 smaller assessment fees.
Yay.
Now, I think a lot of people are commenting on the price of the type rating. Do you think that's expensive or cheap for a 737 rating?
It's hella expensive, because you need to think about it's not just a type rating that is actually costing. It's also you have to calculate for expenses of living on top of that.
Oh yeah, so what you're actually talking about is that it's not only 30,000 that you need to borrow. I think we have a blog where we're actually trying to give you an example of how you can work out exactly how much you're going to be able to have to actually go for this deal. But in terms of sort of the price tag itself, I think that you could find other places where it's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, especially in the Eastern Europe, I would say.
To be going down the route and thinking, oh, I'm just going to take a 737 rating and then I'm going to present myself as, you know, I'm able to work for Ryanair, I don't think that's likely to happen unless you come with experience.
Well, I think what we also need to, maybe if we're talking just about the price, the 30,000, I think at the moment it's really problematic to actually get a loan, and it's really difficult. So if you cannot get a loan for 30,000, so that means that you would have to have it in your pocket. And how many people just have 30,000 in the pocket to pay straight up?
It's not until you have actually passed the selection process for Ryanair, as I understand it, that you will have to pay the 30,000. So the point I'm trying to make is that before you actually pay the 30,000, you would have an idea of whether you are employable for Ryanair.
What I actually think is most likely they're going to make their money from the online assessment and then actually the recruitment day. Because, you know, I think anyone actually can do the online assessment. And I think at the moment people might be getting a little bit desperate, and especially the newly graduated pilots.
Yeah, I think you're raising a valid point here. Let's say you have 1,000 applicants. Simple math, 55,000 euros is then in the pocket. And I think it does say on the various websites that the assessment fees are non-refundable. So I think before you actually go ahead, maybe just check whether it's likely that you can get the funding, because if you can't get the funding, there's no mentioning anywhere in the program where you can get help to get the funding. So maybe just save yourself those 405 euros for the first and the second assessment. Just save yourself the money until you actually know whether it's realistic. I think what you need to appreciate as well is that if you look into the program, it does mention you get type rating, base training, and then line training. And I think what you need to be mindful of in these times is that with COVID-19 restrictions, I think there could be a risk that your training will not go very smooth, especially if you have to travel. Like let's say the interview was in Dublin. How would you get to Dublin without being in quarantine? How would you get flights? How would you do everything? And also thinking about your type rating. I think in a lot of other aspects of the industry, things are just moving a bit slow.
So at the moment,
So I do think there's a risk that if you train now, that there's going to be some
delays, lockdowns,
absolutely,
flights cancelled. There's going to be a lot of hassle going into it.
If you want to go for it now, I suppose it's about talking to your bank and talking to different lenders and saying this is the project. The problem you have, the challenge you have, is that it's likely that one of the first things you will be asked for is a budget. Now, We talked about maybe trying to figure out, is it really 30,000? Is it closer to 40,000? Of course, that's depending on individual factors.
But
However,
I think it's still more than 30,000. It's just no questions asked. You still need
Yeah,
to
if
pay
you-
accommodation. You have to pay your other expenses at home. You have to pay your food in the new location, your flight ticket. Yes, I think it's closer to 40,000 than 30,000.
yeah, it adds up. One key thing here is that what's your contract going to be like? And I think that question is hard to answer at the moment
Because you don't get a contract.
You don't have any idea what your income is. So I think just from that perspective, having that discussion with a bank and saying that, okay, if I do become successful, you have to sort of guess your income.
It's like you have to go into a holding pool, and you're still not guaranteed a job.
Yeah.
But you would still have to guess for a bank. Like, if I actually get the job, then my income would be about this. And I don't think that bank would look at it with that great eyes, to be honest.
No, I think you could go down a road saying that, hey, bank, you have already invested so and so much in me as a training.
And you still haven't paid us back.
Well, yeah, there is that. But let's just keep focus on that and seeing that the bank has already invested some money on you.
Yeah.
And this is just a point I'd like to point out. What other options are there at the moment? What other airlines are presenting you with a possibility of actually getting employment? There's not a lot.
McDonald's?
Airline.
No, just general McDonald's.
I just think that it's difficult to find anything else at the moment to actually, if you want to go down the road of being a pilot, I think this is opportunity. The difficult thing is saying how many will get hired. Of course, we don't know.
We don't know.
But
they haven't given us numbers.
No, and it would just be a guess. I think there are some people that have written to us and saying, oh, it's a scam. Again, it can only be a personal opinion. I don't think it would work if it was a scam. And I think by definition of a scam, saying that nobody got hired, because I think everybody's interested in a percentage of people going through this would actually end up getting employment. Otherwise, it would be quite difficult to attract people.
Yeah, but then the question is it 5 people? Is it 10 people?
And
20,
those numbers
30?
we don't know.
And there's nothing actually set in there that how many they're actually looking for.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a scam.
People ask us sometimes, what should I do? And I think that's really, really difficult to say because depending on a lot of personal circumstances, what we can maybe offer is the opportunity to see things from a lot of different angles. And I think if you were to go for this deal, let's say you have the money, my advice would be to try and focus your attention on things you can control by saying, by that I mean your preparation, because most likely when you go for the assessments, you would have to pull off the performance of your lifetime. And then secondly, how do you actually manage to stay sharp throughout the whole process?
How are you going to stay sharp?
Of course, you can do like advanced chair flying. You can invest in a simulator at home and try and be a little bit sharp. But to people that are going for this deal, I think that nobody can tell you how it's going to end up. But I think everybody can agree that if you make it all the way, you sit there, you become a captain one day, it's a really, really good way to accelerate your career. We can sum it up saying, should you go for the deal or not? It really depends on whether you have the money available. I would say, if you put yourself in a situation where, let's say, borrowing the additional 40,000 puts you in a really, really difficult financial situation, I would hold my horses.
Thinking from this point of view, it's like investing. So you're investing in yourself and your education a large amount of money. What is the likelihood of the turnaround of that money? So I would say in general, when you're talking about investing money, don't invest anything you cannot afford to lose.
Yeah.
So I would say it's going to be the same principles over here. Just invest the money that you can afford to lose. So if you can afford to lose the 30,000 or the 40,000, then yes, you can go for it. But I think you need to be really, really careful if it's actually money that you cannot afford to lose.
Yeah. So that was our advice. If you are thinking about going for this deal and you would like to have a more like a personal coaching or advice, then send us an email or contact us. We'll be more than happy to help you. If you would like to know more about aspects of how you prepare, we can maybe make another video and telling you some general good tips of how you prepare.
That will be all today. So if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our channel for more aviation related videos. So we guys see you next time. Bye.